Welcome to Reading RS. We like reading interesting Reddit stories out loud for your entertainment. Please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe.
Part 3. My husband is currently on a vacation with his mistress, and I'm confronting them. The breakdown. My 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗁 had the children this past Friday, Saturday, and then again Monday, Wednesday. I went to pick them up today after work, and that's when it happened. The breakdown. My 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗁 started to cry. He lost it. Apparently, for the past 3 days all our children did was ask to go home. They cried and constantly asked how long. He tried to tell them that this was their home as well, but they wouldn't hear of it. Now part of me feels badly. It must be terrible to have your children reject you. But on the flip side, he's never been the parent he is now. He takes them places, plays with them, reads to them, bathes them, etc. I don't think he understands that you can't just flip a switch with these kids, and they will gravitate towards you. I know he is trying, and I appreciate that, but it's too little too late. I have tried to be supportive and understand them having a father is important, but I honestly don't think they want him. Again, they are both under 10 and young, they don't fully understand. My oldest asked me on the ride home if they could never go back. When I explained that we are both parents, love them, and want to spend equal time with them, both children protested. I think my 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗁 realizes this is too little, too late. He is regretful. I don't know how to make this situation easier for everyone, but honestly, it's not my problem to solve. I asked him to take a 35/65 split, but he rejected it saying it wasn't enough time with the children. My suggestion of that split wasn't about me wanting more, it was about what I thought our children could handle. He just wanted to win and get me to convert to a 50/50 split. Well, you won. Here it is. How's that working out for you? Maybe if you would have thought about what was best for them, and not defeating me, maybe this would have ended differently. The summer situation. After his breakdown I didn't contact him for a while. I knew he needed time to cool off, and if I talked to him for any reason I was afraid he would get angry with me or even worse, confide in me. I wanted neither. So when I finally did need to speak to him he told me, we need to figure out what we are going to do this summer. What are we doing? We are doing nothing. I was confused. He told me it's going to be impossible for him to handle the kids during the summer while he is working. He said he was barely holding on by a thread as it is now. This isn't a problem we faced in the past, as I'm a teacher and off all summer, so I handle the kids 100% during summer months. I don't think he took the summer into consideration when he demanded 50/50 its physical custody. So his suggestion was to enroll the children in a camp when he has them. A camp? So you want to enroll our children in a camp from 8 to 6 on the days you have them? How's that spending time with them? So, my suggestion was let's do the 35/65 split for July and August and he can have the kids weekends and see them in the evening whenever he wants. He was furious. It's always about custody with you, he said. Wait. This isn't about custody. You just said you can't handle them. I'm offering to give up the first real summer vacation I've ever had to keep them to help you, and I'm the bad guy here? Make this make sense. He claims the kids need to socialize. In the past 9 years he has never cared if the children socialized, but now it's a big deal? This was the man who rolled his eyes and complained about having to go to a kid's birthday party for 3 hours, so I left it alone. Let him sit on the thought for a bit. A few days later, to be proactive I sent him information about summer camps, along with price lists. It would cost between $250 to $350 a week for camp. The camps I found are only for 5 weeks, leaving most of August without childcare for him. How does this help? How's this spending time with the kids? Putting our children in an expensive weekly camp during COVID just so you can give them dinner, bath and put them to bed doesn't help them or your relationship with them. My family owns a house by the beach. I will be down there most of the summer with kids. When I'm home, we have friends we can visit, and at least we have a yard at our house for the children to play in. The children will be happy, socialize with family and friends, and most importantly, be safer with me than in a camp. Lastly, I will add that he has yet to pay me child support for April and May. He moved out in March, took the kids for 8 overnights in April, it should have been 15, and has yet to give me a dime for April and May. But he can afford almost $1,300 in camp fees just to have his custody? Even more proof that his actions are not about what's best for the kids, it's just a competition with me. Again, make this make sense. Get the papers. I'm officially in the court system, with a docket number and everything. It's on its way to becoming official, and I am elated. My 𝗪𝗵𝗲 does not seem that excited. This past weekend he flew out to her state and attended a family wedding as her guest. I'm happy they are taking these steps as a couple, because if they are happy he will move, and the farther away he is the better. When he returned he was now excited about the divorce, asking me when the lawyer would send him paperwork to sign and what the timeline was moving forward. He was on cloud 9 after his vacation and wished to hurry the process up. The day he was having his share of paperwork notarized was also the day I was going to pick up the children from him. When I got there he was short with me. I could tell he was on the verge of a panic attack. He hurried us away and then texted me later explaining he in fact was in the beginning stages of a panic attack. But why? He told me he was feeling overwhelmed. Between the kids, work, managing a household and maintaining a social life he felt burnt out. Wow. This sounds oddly familiar. This was my story for the past 10 years. The reason I didn't go on date nights as often as he liked was for this exact reason. Part of me felt bad because I know what that feeling is like. But another part of me relished the thought of his struggling and coming to the realization that that was my life and reason for his cheating. So, how should I react? After I took a second to think I blurted, "Wow, that sucks. I'm taking the kids to the beach this weekend. See you Monday morning when you pick them up." I decided to give him the support he gave me for 10 years. If anyone knows what movie this post's title is from, then you know, you gotta do what your heart tells you to do. D-Day. Sunday, it's happening. The day I've been waiting for, and he has been dreading. I'm going to meet the girlfriend. I'm honestly excited. He on the other hand is in a panic. And I understand why. I exploded on that woman on the phone and said some terrible things. And I also understand it's going to be hard for him to hide his lies about me being insane when we are face to face. He texted me a few days ago and told me that he would be picking the boys up on Father's Day to head down the shore with them, and she would be accompanying them. When they come to pick up the boys we can have a chat. I'm fine with that. I'm actually relieved he wasn't planning on taking the boys to the shore alone. I don't think he can handle them both on the boardwalk or in arcades. He is very worried that I will cause a scene when I meet her. It's actually the exact opposite. I plan on being myself, very friendly and welcoming. I need her to see I'm not that emotional woman that I was on the phone and in my letter. I mentioned to him via text that I would not jeopardize the good relationship he and I have had recently with each other and co-parenting by being mean to her. His exact words, "I don't need you to speak about what you and I have." But why? Why wouldn't the fact that we were getting along and co-parenting be something she shouldn't know? And then I remembered, he lies. He must be telling her I'm impossible. That I'm a terrible human being. That I'm difficult and unreasonable. How can he make this lie hold water if I'm polite and friendly to her and him? The boys have each made something for him, and I got a small gift from the boys to give him. We will present him with those things in front of her. I feel like, if I saw someone who was supposed to be cruel and insane do that to their enemy, I'd have questions as well. Also, I plan on packing snacks for the boys and him for the trip. This is something I'd, for whether she was there or not. Are those the acts of a crazy and hateful person? I think not. Lastly, and some of you may not agree with this, I'm going to apologize for how I spoke to her. I know she was wrong for what she did, and if she ever wants to apologize, I'd listen. But, I'm not proud of how I spoke to her on the phone. That was the worst side of me. I think she understands my actions, but my apology is not to get on her good side. I want to be the bigger person. I don't plan on ever being friends with this woman, but she will be left alone with my children at some point, so I'm doing this for them. Also, my selfish motive, if she is happy and feels comfortable with my 𝗪𝗵𝗲, she will want him to move out of state with her. I want this. So I won't do anything to jeopardize this move. I will update you all on Sunday evening with a play-by-play of our meet. My strange meet cute. Since my last post my head has been swimming. I spent so many months envisioning this moment, and now it is here and all the scenarios I've run in my head seem like cheesy movie scenes. None of it is plausible. I finally decided yesterday to not go into this meetup trying to prove who I am to someone, but more so just be myself and stop worry about the impression that I leave on her. She has an opinion of me that is clouded by his lies, so there is no sense trying to change her mind. So I asked myself, who am I? And then I remembered that before this whole fiasco I was the person who killed with kindness. While that kindness was manipulated by my 𝗪𝗵𝗲, I was the one who was in control now. So I did what I thought was right. My children made Father's Day cards for him, and then I had them make cards for her. I had them introduce themselves and list 1 things they'd like to do with her. They drew pictures and colored and all was right in the world. Killed him with kindness. I texted him last night asking what time was pickup. He was at dinner and said he would text me back when they were done. I woke up at 6:30 with no text from him. I texted him at 6:30, 7:30, 8 and finally received word back from him just before 9. Be there in an hour. Okay, know that is settled. What do I wear? I opted for the true to myself outfit, leggings, flip-flops and a cute off-the-shoulder shirt. Very me. Hair, curly. Makeup, light but with a generous amount of mascara. It was now 9:40, so we sat and waited. The boys grew antsy. At 10:30 I get a text that his stomach is upset, so they ran a little late. Sounds like a case of nerves to me. Then at just before 11 they arrive. I assemble the boys and the gifts and we come outside. There she is. Right there. Standing on my steps. For a hot second I raged inside. I wanted to say something smart like, "You left me for this?" I looked over at him, and the look of panic and tension on his face told me that by doing that I'd be the monster he has fictitiously talked about. So I went back to my motto of kindness, extended my hand, smiled warmly, and introduced myself. She was shocked. Where is this lunatic I've heard so much of? Why isn't she trying to claw out my eyes? I can only imagine what was running through her head. The boys presented their gifts to Dad, and then gave her the cards. Shock took her over again. Cards that aren't death threats? How? Why? At this point her mood went from fear to pure embarrassment. I must say it was more delicious to watch that shift than it was to potentially pull her hair out. We hustled the boys into the car, and as my 𝗪𝗶𝗶𝗃 walked to the other side of the car to get them in I turned to her. Shock and fear had returned to her face. She had difficulty making eye contact with me. I could hear my 𝗪𝗶𝗃's heart beating from 10 feet away. I looked at her and said, "I just want to apologize for how I first spoke to you. I was an emotional wreck, but I said some terrible things, and that was very unlike me. I know my actions were justified, but reflected back on that day I'm unhappy with how I acted towards you." "Hello Shock, have you met our dear friend Guilt?" A wave of guilt took over her as she bumbled through her own half-assed apology. She couldn't say the word affair, instead she said what happened. "Own it girl, just own it." But she didn't, her nonsensical word vomit, wishing to have a conversation with me about what transpired. I used the word transpired. Most of her words were less than 2 syllables. My 𝗪𝗶𝗃, who had started to look relieved, now tensed at the idea of her and I having a chat. I have already promised myself I won't speak badly of him to her. Maybe I'll just give her a link to this thread instead. Haha. Now I look forward to her spending 48 hours with him and our kids. Now she can see the short temper and lack of patience he has. It is going to be very hard for him to keep up his Father of the Year act. I'm sure my children will give me a play-by-play of how their visit went. I will update you all on Wednesday, when the children have returned. Thank you all again for supporting me on this journey. Today was a big day, but I'm proud of my growth. Part of that growth is from the support I've received from you all. So many thanks. Feudal friends. On Sunday evening I sat home alone, glass of white wine in hand, and replayed the morning over in my head. As I sipped, I let the interaction play out in my mind, and tried to analyze the scenario. My interpretation was that she was stunned, he was floored, my kids were indifferent, and I was victorious. I was pleased with my behavior and felt that there wasn't much more that could be done. She would leave Monday evening, and it would be some time till her and I spoke again. Then, almost as if prompted by the gods themselves, my phone pinged. Random number with a strange area code. My heart dropped. I knew it was her. I stared at my phone without opening it for a good minute. I knew that text was opening a door I wasn't sure I wanted open. Perhaps she would just be apologizing. Or maybe thanking me for earlier. Were the kids okay? Or perhaps she would have questions or concerns about him and want an ally. I knew after opening that text, no matter what it said, things would never be the same. Simple, right? Straight to the point. A message of thanks. For a split second I regretted my decision to be kind to her. I took away some of her worry and fear, and yet none of my emotions have changed. But then I remembered, I'm not in the wrong here. I don't need anyone to tell me it's okay, because I was not to blame. We spoke a bit more, and by the end of the conversation I felt sorry for her. She has no idea what she is getting into with him. She thinks he is her knight in shining armor, but little does she know she will have to polish and maintain that armor for him. She was just like me many years ago, blinded by shiny armor that was really just tin foil. Lies and playing pretend was all he really gave me, and I fear this will be her outcome too. The other side of that coin is that she deserves this. You had an affair. She read in my letter that this wasn't the first time I suspected he was unfaithful, yet she thinks it will be different with her? Come on, sis. You're smarter than this. You gotta do better, girl. After I picked up the boys, they gave me rave reviews about her and their father. It seems they were rightfully spoiled while she was there, and daddy didn't yell or lose patience once. Amazing, huh? My youngest asked me if this was his new sister. I had to explain the concept of separation, divorce, and parents dating. Apparently, even with his girlfriend in the room, my 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗁 avoided an actual conversation with our kids. Sigh. Some things never change. So while they won knockoff Marvel prizes at the arcade with her and their dad, it seems she has won the biggest knockoff prize of them all. My first second. For those of you that love the dirt and gossip about my 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗁, I'm sorry. This is not a post about him. This is a post about me. A little while back I sat in my home in silence. The children were gone, and I was in a partial meditation trance thinking about what I want my future to look like. I'm 38, I have 2 children, a job, friends, gray hair peeking from my temples, a tight family, future schooling for my 3rd degree, a mortgage, cellulite, and a kind, but damaged, heart. Where do I go from here? And more importantly, who would want to go with me? Dating was easy in my 20s. My skin was tight, I could be spontaneous, everything I owned fit perfectly, and going on an 11 p.m. date for drinks was totally doable. I am not that girl anymore. So, how does a woman like me meet a man that will like me? I'm lost. Are there bars? Nightclubs? Pottery painting? I've seen speed dating on TV. Does that really exist, or is that reserved only for sitcoms? Reluctantly, I googled how to date in your 30s. Some of you have probably beaten me to the punchline, but the answer was right in front of me. Online dating. I cringed. Having no real reason not to, I created an online dating profile. I filled in all the blanks, set my preferences, uploaded a few pictures where the outfit fits right and the lighting is superb, and I published the page. I walk away from my phone full of nervous energy and grab a snack. Chocolate will help. After I eat out of pure anxiety, I return to my phone. I have a message from the app. I'm afraid. I ignore it out of fear and, strangely, guilt. Fear that he may be a serial killer, and guilt because while my 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗁 has moved on, I feel guilty that I am still legally married and on a dating site. I do the only logical thing next. I go to bed. I lay in bed and try to remember what a first date is like. The awkward hello. Is it a handshake, hug, kiss on the cheek, full open mouth sloppy kiss, the cumbersome chit chat, this weather is crazy, read any good books lately, wow how about the Mets, and of course the uncomfortable goodbye. Ugh, I don't know how to do this, or even if I can. Do you talk about your ex? Or do you avoid it like the plague? Do you be no nonsense and get right to the good and bad of yourself to not waste time? Because honestly, who has time to casually date at this age? I tell myself to go to sleep. Eventually, I listen. I awake to sunlight, the hum of the AC, and a pinging phone. I have a text from my mother and 14 messages, all from the dating site. This must be a mistake. I must have put the wrong age, or been too lenient with my preferences. I scroll through message after message, and see that these men all share the same thing. They are interested in learning more about me. I sift through profiles like they are resumes for a job and land on 3 potential candidates. All around my age and location, all divorced, all wishing to converse with me. My nerves have no transition to excitement, but peppered with a bit of anxiety. This is it, I'm doing it, officially jumping into the deep dark dating pool. After a few days of chatting with all 3, I solidified my suitor. Soon I will be engaging in my first, second date. Wish me luck, and will update soon. What other Reddit stories would you like us to read? Comment your suggestions down below.
If you want to hear more Reddit stories, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell to get notified whenever we upload new videos. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.